The Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with some of the guys here.
Dave,
Ryan, I'm belated on that whole thing.
a little bit.
And today we got a GM 911 coming out from Wizard Oz. He wants to know, how do you deal with players that the characters at the table are no longer fitting into the party? Like, you've got a paladin and a couple thieving rogues, or rangers with a bunch of people who are all killing stuff they don't want killed.
It's funny you should ask, because we kind of did a video that addresses this.
Okay.
It just went up the other day, and it was the Session 0 video. If you're having this problem, more than likely you did not do a Session 0. You could actually circumvent this problem right from the beginning.
Right. But also, too, just remember with this edition, Paladin doesn't mean lawful good / lawful stupid. It could be chaotic good. It could be, a neutral aligned Paladin. So, like, they're not anymore like they could be the Knight in Gleaming Armor, but they don't absolutely have to be. They could be a bounty hunter.
Well, then there wouldn't be a conflict.
Right.
So,
well, that's what I'm saying. But just...
so from the RP perspective, you've got Mr. Super Boy Scout, Super Paladin, Superman, however you want to call him.
So I mean, he's being a cliched Paladin is kind of the thing.
Or it could be a fighter with that's a noble and lawful good that really takes his stuff seriously.
And on the other side, you've got a couple of rogues in the party who are just blatant thieving.
Well, no. Here's the problem with the rogues. You're not doing a fucking good job. If people know that you're doing things, you're doing terrible at it. My character in Ted's campaign does a pretty good job of nobody knowing. He's a respectable businessman in everybody else's eyes. So if everybody knows you're the rogue and knows you as the rogue, you're not playing a rogue very well. Just saying.
If you want to go back to the classic second edition, I'm playing a thief. Or first edition, whatever one actually had the class as a thief. Like, if you're out there,
was just AD&D.
For the I'm gonna steal and I'm gonna loot and I'm playing this greedy effing bastard.
So you're playing D&D. It's really like murder hobos. Yeah.
No, but I mean elevated. If you're playing that, the loot I get from just killing the stuff we kill isn't enough, that I've got to pickpocket and steal from the nobles that we're working against. You have to be doing it in a smart way so that you're not getting caught. If your own party is aware you're doing it, then as you said, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. It's all about having alibis, rogues. Like, you're up in your room sick, and then you climb out the window and go pull off the caper. All of your party members is under the assumption that you stayed in your room and never left because you were sick, and then but you definitely want to keep your door bolted.
So, but here's another thing, right? In the example, he actually gave like a thug fighter, 2 thieving bastard rogues.
So I think it's just Paladin, not
and a kill them all ranger.
Yeah.
If all the players are kind of the same, but you got one oddball, then
the one person's kind of odd man out. He might have to retire that character and do the sort of Incredible Hulk sad piano music, like thumbing it.
So there's 2 options that I see.
Everyone turns good or everyone turns evil.
No, like the paladin. I mean, if they've been traveling together for a long time and there's camaraderie, there's a relationship there. He needs to approach them and say, "Look, guys, we're doing this the wrong way."
I will throw one thing out there for everybody. Jesus always traveled with whores and thieves,
trying to impress upon them. Yeah.
So you have the whole thing where you approach the party and say, "Look, we're not going about this the right way," and try to have an in-game conversation and see how the characters react. If you can't get them to where you want them to be as the player of the goodly paladin, noble fighter, whatever, then either you decide, what, I'm going to travel with these guys until I can convince them of the proper way to do things.
The Jesus route.
As you said, the Jesus route. Or, you have the option of saying, what, I am too goodly of a person to travel with the likes of you, and I'm going to sheathe my blade and say, "Have a good day, sir," and walk away and make a new character. If you can't play your character with the mindset that you have with the party you have, then make a new one.
Make a new character who is a thieving, lying bastard. To fit in with the rest of the party.
Come in if you've got rogues, thugs, rangers. You know what? looks like the party doesn't need a paladin. Looks like they need a cleric or a wizard
or an avenging paladin.
Yeah, or a shady wizard or a shady cleric.
So come in as a cleric of a thieving god, and you're gonna fit right in.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the deal, right? I kind of hate this solution, even though we don't really have many choices here. Like, your players have kind of backed you into a corner at this point, like. And you're gonna have to figure it out. Either the bad players have to be better at being bad, or either that character would have to go the Jesus route and be like, well, maybe through my life of example that they can go. But this isn't actually a problem that the GM can fix,
right?
I mean, so I don't know if it's a good.
It's like the idea of the gaming social contract, where like you kind of have to either have an elegant conversation of like where things are going, and like is it something that can be worked out upon with in-game solutions, or do you have like this sort of just social among friends sort of thing where you're like, well, this character isn't a good fit for
the important thing is, I mean, if you're getting a bunch of friends around the table, and that's typically the way a lot of
no, that's the way it happens for us. Let's be clear. There's plenty of people in the comments that are like, well, I'm not lucky enough to have a group of friends to play D&D with, and I have to do it through Roll20 with randos, or I have to do it through go into a shop or whatever. Okay, so let's not make assumptions.
That's true. So if you are gathered to game, be it at your table, at a shop, or online, before you say, okay, picking up from where we left off last session, you as the DM GM can reach out to the players and say, look, here's the situation. Things are a little bit heated amongst the players. Is this something that can be resolved through gameplay? And if, the couple people who are egging everyone on to do, the kind of evil stuff, like, oh, well, I didn't realize it was a problem. Maybe I could tone that down, or, do it all behind, closed doors.
The problem is that the solution is actually not a in-game solution. It's an out-of-game solution to an in-game problem.
And I wonder even like if there's like actual personal conflicts between the players. Like, what if like collectively, like they've decided they're like friends, and then there's this other player, and they decide that they don't like him, and they're gonna like troll play, totally play against whatever he is. They're going to be against it, so he becomes a thieving bastard, and they all go the straight and narrow. I don't know the group of people.
Yeah, we don't know all the circumstances.
There's lots of ins and outs, lots of old
dynamics can have issues, and if that's the situation, then. Unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do.
The first step in a situation like this is dialogue,
addressing that there's a problem, admitting that there's a problem. First step.
Yeah. Or maybe as a DM, you just got to fist of God everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, new characters. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna fist of God you guys until you guys can work together. Because, well, look, anytime you have a group and there's one person that wants to build that character that absolutely is not going to want to play the game. First of all, that player is being an idiot and an a-hole. And my solution kind of is okay, go off and do what you're doing, but I'm going to focus on the group.
Well, and what's kind of great, if the paladin does get retired, you can bring him back as like a lawful good nemesis.
Yeah.
Like he's the law and order that they end up actually running afoul of, him and like a cadre of other knights that he does gather to his side.
That would be awesome.
So your villain is actually a better person than your heroes in the game. So yeah,
it makes it interesting. It ties the backstories.
So if that character, if he does retire that character, get that character GM, because that'll be gold when it happens. Like if they don't watch our videos, their faces will drop when he strides out and has like a bunch of knights behind him on horses.
Even if they do watch our videos, that's something you kind of keep that one to your vest for a while and wait until they're higher level.
Yeah. Wait, like a bunch of in-game time.
Dude, you can totally like foreshadow it, like they're being tracked by someone's after them, like without actually giving away the identity.
Yeah. Well, and even
or maybe he's got titles and shit now that he didn't have before.
Yeah.
And cooler armor, so like the description's a little bit off.
Yeah.
And then finally when it does come down, like you're like, dude, I gave you guys a chance. Yeah. Now the hammer's got to fall, and you can
becomes like a duke of some territory that they like are committing crimes in.
Could even do a little swap if you wanted to kind of vindicate that player that got that kind of got outed.
He gets to roll the hits on this party.
He gets to control the character and the NPCs, and the DM takes over as thieving bastard or something.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be hilarious.
Wow, that
would be a
spectacular.
beautiful moment to build to.
Yes.
Like, that would just bring a smile on my face as the GM. Absolutely.
Especially if you like it's the campaign ender and you plan for good to finally win. Which I'm totally all right. Like you, as a DM, never feel guilty about murdering evil characters.
TPK.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, like when you make that sort of decision to play that game, you owe them nothing as players. You know, for the most part, kid gloves are off.
Evil has its moments, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with evil characters. But when the entire campaign seems to go off in an evil direction, it's never going well. It always ends in
well, I mean, like
disaster.
There's always going to be the forces of good that will rally and sort of coalesce and come to smite you, form an army and come to smite you.
And then the forces of evil that are jealous or want what you have will also come less than come to get what you have, unless you can keep them in line and make them follow you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that, I think we've answered your question as best we can. I mean,
with the information we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough situation. It really is. It really requires out-of-game solutions to this in-game problem. So, with that, that's GM 911. You guys, if you have your own problems you want us to try and fix or break for you, put them down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, subscribe, and even I said it all.
Yeah, you did even
do it twice. Do it twice.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
Or you can hang out with us over on Facebook. Until next time,
stay nerdy.
I'm belated on that whole thing.
And today we got a GM 911 coming out from Wizard Oz. He wants to know, how do you deal with players that the characters at the table are no longer fitting into the party? Like you've got a paladin and a couple thieving rogues, or rangers with a bunch of people who are all killing stuff they don't want killed.
It's funny you should ask, because we kind of did a video that addresses this.
Mine's paladin. So like, they're not anymore. Like they could be the knight in gleaming armor, but they don't absolutely have to be. They could be a bounty hunter. Or
well, then there wouldn't be a conflict,
right?
So,
well, that's what I'm saying. But just,
so from the RP perspective, you've got Mr. Super Boy Scout, Super Paladin, Superman, however you want to call him.
So I mean, he's being a cliched paladin is kind of the thing.
Or it could be a fighter with that.
The Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with some of the guys here.
Dave,
right?
It's a noble and lawful good that really takes his his stuff
and
seriously.
And on the other side, you've got a couple of rogues in the party who are just blatant thieving.
Well, no. Here's the problem with the rogues. You're not doing a fucking good job. If people know that you're doing things, you're doing terrible at it. My character in Ted's campaign does a pretty good job of nobody knowing. He's a respectable businessman in everybody else's eyes. So if everybody knows you're the rogue and knows you as the rogue, you're not playing a rogue very well.
Okay.
It just went up the other day, and it was the Session 0 video. If you're having this problem, more than likely you did not do a Session 0. You could actually circumvent this problem right from the beginning.
Right. But also, too, just remember with this edition, paladin doesn't mean lawful good / lawful stupid. It could be chaotic good. It could be, a neutral alliance.